Here we go. Welcome back, everyone. Looking forward to our Friday review. Excited to get into my book review of the week coming up in just a couple minutes. Our product review of the week, and also an ask from you as to what you would like to see on a particular hydration-based product that I'm looking to formulate. And I would love to make sure and know what exactly you enjoy using right now. I've got two research studies for you. Of course, each and every week, each and every Friday review, we bring you the best of the week in terms of research. I'll share with you how many miles you're typically walking per day based on your steps or vice versa. And then also creatine supplementation and a potential link to hair loss. So all that and much more coming up here today in the show. Before we get started with all of the different reviews and the research, what I always love to do is update you as to where we are right now with our global health-based community, our certification, and of course, my private online practice, EcoLife. So right now, we're in about mid-June or so, moving through June, at least we could say, and we are opening up Mastery, IHP Mastery, for the last time in 2021. This is going to be it. So our last class, our third inaugural class, will be starting June 21st. Let me see if I've got that date correctly. June 21st it is. And so this is literally the last week to sign up for Mastery. We would love to have you. There is a prerequisite. You must be at least IHP level 1 certified. If you've been thinking about becoming a health coach, if you've been thinking about either a part-time or full-time career, or taking your health-based education to that next level. If you're already a health practitioner, I definitely recommend checking out Integrative healthpractitioner.org. And if you already have your level 1 and you want to learn now, besides the diet, exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, rest, emotional balance, supplements backed by science, and success mindset protocols, which we teach in IHP level 1, and you want to learn more of the life coaching for yourself, the transformational coaching for yourself and for your clients of how to get consistent results, even with the most challenging of clients, that is exactly what we teach over 6 months inside of Mastery. This is live workshops every 2 weeks. It's the highest level of certification as well. You can actually become a registered health coach with, again, all of our IHP certifications. You've got great different certifications and boards to go along with that if you choose to. And then, of course, IHP, we're not talking about level 2 right now, but that is when you learn how to read at home functional medicine lab tests if that interests you. So those people interested in Mastery, it begins this coming week. You can check it out at integrativehealthpractitioner.org/mastery. All right. Next up, I wanted to share with you, just because I want to make sure you don't miss out on this, one of our most popular products, and that's because there's simply nothing else like it in the world, is our advanced collagen support. One of the reasons why it's so popular is because it's actually backed up by science. It's not, I'm going to put this in air quotes if you're not watching this video, it's not another collagen-based product. Collagen, I explained the difference on, let's see the episode so I can point you towards it. I didn't talk about this product, but I talked about what collagen in general is helpful for, and whether you can get it from fish and whether you can get it from vegan-based sources. That was in episode 1950. Okay, so head on over to stephencabral.com/1950 if you'd like. I'll also link, I'll make that easier today. Every link that I talk about, the books, the products, the research, head to stephencabral.com/1960, and I'll just link that up right there. All right, so stephencabral.com/1960. All right, so I explained the difference though in that previous podcast about collagen peptides, gelatin, marine collagen, and if there is a vegan collagen. So I went through all of that on that show. But what I'll tell you the difference is, because there's a lot of collagen-based products out there, not all are backed by science. They're all helpful. There's no doubt about that. They can be very helpful. But the one that we use uses the least amount of animal-based product, and it also has the 3 best forms of patented collagen boosting products in there. So clinically proven to improve your hair, your skin, your nails, muscles, connective tissue, great for anti-aging, great for overall healthy, glowing skin hair and nails. All right. So right now we are giving away a free bottle of our advanced collagen support on all orders over $149 at equi.life, equi.life. That is our online functional medicine-based practice where we open source all of our at-home lab tests, all of our protocols like our mold protocol, our gut protocol, our detox protocols, our heavy metal protocols. All those protocols are right there from inside of my private practice, open source to you, so that you can use these for your friends, family, etc. So head on over to equa.life for your free bottle of advanced collagen support. All right. Next up is the podcast recap of the week. I hope that you've been joining us for the past 4 days. And if you have been, you saw our Monday show on what is and finding your bounce back statistic, your bounce back score. So one of the most important things in life is not getting too down for too long. Really, really important, because we're all going to encounter some hardships in our life, some challenges and some obstacles. The goal is to improve your bounce back score. So I wrote about that. I talked about that on episode 1956. And again, I'll link all of these up. On 1957, I talked about avoiding the 7 deadly sins that speed up aging. Let me see if I can say that correctly. Avoid the 7 deadly sins that speed up aging. I went through all of those 7 on that show. On episode 1958, I went through the ancient Ayurvedic fasting protocols that have been rediscovered now in this modern-based age. Super important because it has to deal with bioindividuality. Not every person should be doing 12 hours a day. Not every person should be doing 16 hours a day of fasting. Not everybody should be doing a week-long water-based fast. All right, so I'll go over that there. And then yesterday we had on Dr. Dane here. Amazing conversation. Really great individual that's been doing a lot of amazing work for the past 20 years in terms of transformational based healing and a lot of forgiveness and empathy and really rediscovering yourself. And so great interview. Loved having him on. And you can check out that full interview with our Conversations with Cabral shows on yesterday's show, 1959. All right, let's get into our product review of the week. This is Lancets that I've had in my practice now for over a decade. There's a million different brands. I will link up brands for you today, again, at episode 1960. But instead of just using the Lancet that comes with you in your at-home lab test, you can actually purchase this. It might be $10, $20 maximum, but this comes with 100 Lancets, which it means it's good for 100 different little finger sticks that you can use for taking your blood sugar in the morning. So again, if you're testing your fasting glucose when you wake up, you can test it. If you're doing multiple tests to look at what's your glucose after a meal, this is good. And then of course, what I use this for is also gentle finger sticks for doing this with kids as well. So here are the Lancets. These are purple. Sometimes they're blue. Sometimes they're yellow. And then it also comes with a device. So instead of a single finger stick, which is basically a plunger, and you press it against your finger and you do a finger stick, I've used that in a previous video. You can see on my omega-3 testing. This comes with basically an injector right here, okay? It sounds worse than it is. It's really simple. I'm just going to show you actually right now. So this is labeled from a 0 through a 5. Some are labeled 0 through a 6. Let's see if I can get that in picture, in view. Not really. That's okay. All right. So literally, you just click this. If you're not watching this on video, you can hear it. And you click it from a 0, which you're not going to be on, through a 5 for this one. And they do points in between. So you can do a 0.5, a 1, a 1.5, a 2. So the reason why this is great is that kids don't need a full adult plunger. You can use a smaller one. But again, you can't send these. It'd be too expensive and all that to send with an at-home lab test. So what you're going to do is I just took the top off of it right here. All you do is unscrew it. Very simple. And I'm going to actually show you how this works. So my daughter's going to be doing a follow-up at-home lab test. And she, of course, loved the idea of not having to use an adult plunger. And I showed her how simple it was to set this on a 1 for her. So if there's a little circular part on the top of this, you just pull it off and then you expose the sterile needle right here, okay? So you don't want to touch this with your finger. You do want it to be straight and you just want to put this, then you drop it into the plunger, okay? So you just drop it right into that plunger. You hear it click. It just clicked down. Now, I don't unclick it because that's what I'm going to use to give myself a little finger poke. And then I push this all the way in and now it's closed. Now, what's going to happen is you'll see the hole at the top. That's where the little stick's going to come out of. Now, the higher you set it towards a 5, the more it's going to come out. So if you have thicker skin and you need a little bit more blood, then you're going to set that all the way to a 5. And you'll see this button right here is what you press in order to eject that. Well, let's just see if it's not that or the clear one, because this is brand new for me. So I've used a bunch of these ones. I'm going to tell you right now. So you're going to hear, you put it against the side of your finger or the top of your finger, depending on how much blood you need. So I typically do it on the top if you need a lot of blood, and on the side if you're just using it for glucometer. Okay, it's the clear button. So what we do is we just press this clear button. You hear it inject. Just for a split second, does it come out the top? Again, you can see that. It's very safe right now. There's no lancet right there, which is just that little tiny needle. And you press it right against your finger. That's it. And then you're going to allow the blood to start to flow out, and you can put it on a blood drop card. I will link up to my Instagram post that shows me actually doing a blood spot, okay? But why am I sharing this with you today? Easy if you have to give yourself multiple finger sticks per day. You're just going to find the smallest number you can go to that you actually get a little bit of blood out of it. Because if I were to do a 1, it would not go through my finger. It just wouldn't pierce the skin enough for me to get enough blood for even a small drop for a glucometer. And then if I was doing a full hormone test, well then of course I would need to set it to probably like a 4, probably not a 5, but a 4 for me to be able to get that amount. So the nice thing is you can customize the amount of blood you need from that finger just with this nice little lancet. And that comes with 100 of these actual lancets and 1 of the lancing device. All right. So I'm going to link this one up. Again, there's a bunch of different ones. They're pretty simple to use. They all work like this. This new one is called Ovon that I'm using. But again, there's lots of different companies. Okay. So that is the product review. Before I get to my book review, I had an ask of you. I would love to hear from you in the comments below if you're currently using an electrolyte-based product or a hydration product of any type. So we have our alkalizing vitamin C that I personally use every day. A lot of people love it, and it contains your calcium, potassium, and magnesium as a bicarb, which means it's alkaline. It doesn't mean that we're trying to alkalize your body necessarily. What we're doing is that ascorbic acid can be difficult on the stomach, on the digestive system. So we use an added a bicarb, which is actually good for the body. It does contain alkaline-based minerals, and it contains electrolytes, calcium, magnesium, and potassium. However, we're looking for a hydration-based one. I would love to be able to create a hydration-based one because I love electrolyte-based formulas for many people, especially those that exercise or they're more of the Vata-based body type. And that one's going to contain most likely sodium, potassium, magnesium, and not calcium. So I would love to hear, before we formulate ours, what are some of your favorites? What do you like to use? Do you like to use one that's in liquid form? Do you like to use one that's just drops, or do you like to use a powdered one with flavor? So feel free to share. I'd love to know which ones you enjoy using and what you would like to see in an electrolyte-based formula. Leave it in the comments below. All right. Next up is the book review of the week. A lot of people have enjoyed my reviews before, or just at least enjoyed, I should say, the topic of the review, maybe not my review, but the topic of it, on Abraham Hicks-based books or Law of Attraction-based books or the subconscious mind. And this one is A Course in Miracles. So many people have heard before about A Course in Miracles. It is a very large book filled with much of the readings and the vision for A Course in Miracles, 500 plus, 600 plus pages, but it's not approachable to everyone. It's too much, it's too overwhelming, and it's not a good starting place, again, for a lot of other people. So I found this book, and I read it over because I wanted to give it that stamp of approval that I thought it would be great for our community, and it's called Living A Course in Miracles, an Essential Guide to the Classic Text by John Mundy, and he's a PhD. And it's just over 200 pages, 15, 20 pages, and it goes through the basic concepts in terms of A Course in Miracles. So you can always go back and read A Course in Miracles. And also, one thing I want to say is that this is not for a specific religious denomination. It's my belief that you can believe in any religion and also take value and benefit from something like the Abraham Hicks-based teachings or A Course in Miracles. I just believe that you can. You could keep an open mind. And then again, in life, take what is useful to you and discard what is not. So the part 1, which goes all the way through the first 60 pages, really details, if you've never read A Course in Miracles, excuse me, what you need to know, okay? And then part 2 is the metaphysics of miracles, like how do we actually, and by miracles, how do we actually attract into our life? We've talked a little bit about it through vibratory principles and quantum physics and quantum mechanics, that we are not necessarily a body, right? We are a molecular-based structure that shares a space with other molecules, quarks, atoms in space. So it goes through the actual metaphysics of it. And then the third part, which I thought was great, was the actual practical plan for living A Course in Miracles. And that actually makes up the bulk of the book with about 130 pages or so. First 100 pages sets the tone. The next 140 pages or so to the end of the book goes through real practicality, meaning like inner teaching, self-observation, why you need to be present, healing your own anger and guilt inside, from being selfish to self-fullness, from, again, really nice things. And again, practicality, practical things for every individual. So I thought it was worth sharing with you. And if you've read it before or you can recommend it, have you read A Course in Miracles? I'd love to hear from you. Again, comment right on Instagram, on the Instagram post, or under YouTube on the comments as well. So check it out. And again, I will link it up, Living A Course in Miracles, more of a handbook for the book, for the actual big course. All right. So let's go over now how many steps in 1 mile. I told you I'd share with you my research on this. So I've been using the Apple Watch now for about 3 weeks. I've had an Oura Ring now for many, many years. I've used a Withings before that. I used a Garmin for sprint triathlon-based training. I use Map My Run for runs. I use a lot of biometric-based devices, okay? And yes, you can see right here, I practice what I preach. I put it on airplane mode. I turn Bluetooth off for both these devices, no EMFs. And I test it. You can see it on my shelf right there. That is an EMF-based tester right there beside my salt lamp. So I test these things. And actually, my daughters have a lot of fun testing objects in their room as well. But I've done the shows in EMF, so we'll save that for a different time. So how many steps in a mile? Well, an average person has a stride length of approximately 2.1 to 2.5 feet, which means if you're taller, you're going to need to take less steps. And if you're shorter, you'll need to take more steps, okay? So that means that it takes over 2,000 steps to walk 1 mile, and 10,000 steps would be nearly 5 miles. I've found for myself, I'm not a tall individual, but my stride length seems to be just a little bit longer. So for me, I need a little bit less than 5 miles to get my 10,000 steps. That's what I found. My Apple Watch seems to overcompensate, and my Oura Ring is over, and Apple Watch seems to be a bit under. It's like, it's not perfect. How do I do it? I can actually use it with GPS coordinates with a Map My Run, and that seems to be the best. Again, you don't need to get that technical. However, I want people to know that when you're walking 10,000 steps a day, you're doing about 5 miles, which is absolutely fantastic, right? So let's say, oh, I just went on a 3-mile walk, but I didn't calculate that on any of my devices. Well, you know that that 3-mile walk is going to be about 6,000 steps, all right? So 1 mile is approximately 2,000 steps. Keep that in mind for when you're doing your mileage and converting to steps. All right. Next up, we are going to get into our last research review, and I'm going to pull it up for you. It is on, can creatine cause hair loss? So I've been on a big workout kick really through the pandemic. And then I moved down to warmer weather, and then really got into it because I'm like, I love being outside. I love getting back into the pool. And I very well may, my goal is still to do a sprint triathlon. And it's been when I think about it, it's been 6 years, going on 7 since I did one. And well, time just flies. You know, that's just the way that it is. I had 2 girls, and next thing you know, I cut my training down to 20-minute sessions, 30-minute sessions, still get them in, but not, the training that it used to be. Anyway, I digress. Getting back into exercise, always have been exercising, didn't take any time off, but just more robust workouts, you could say. I'm literally working out Monday through Friday now, and then trying to do a pool workout on Saturday, and nothing overly strenuous. So I don't want to make it seem like I am. It's about a half hour, 40 minutes max. And then I'm doing some recovery work as well. So one thing I just wanted to share with you is that I was like, oh, I think I always love to experiment with supplements that I've used in the past that have worked really well for me, or maybe try out some new ones. And I used to use creatine in the past, and my body responds really well to creatine. I put on a good 8 to 12 pounds every time I take creatine. And again, that's not for everybody, but it doesn't go as body weight. It allows me to feel stronger and improves my overall ATP and energy. It actually has been shown to help with cognition in your mind. And but you retain typically a little bit more water. Now, the water is supposed to be as sarcoplasm inside your muscles. So your muscles look fuller, you have more energy, you have more recovery, etc. But I've been hearing some rumblings from inside of the industry that people taking creatine, and at least in their 40s or beyond, they're starting to lose their hair, or they see their hair fall out at a faster rate. So I said, this is interesting. Let me look at this research. And it's not definitive yet, but it does show, which is causal, by the way, it does show that creatine increases testosterone to dihydrotestosterone conversion. So dihydrotestosterone can be beneficial in terms of actual usable strength-based testosterone, but it can also speed up the hair falling out, meaning the follicle-based process. It can make your hair thinner, and it can cause male pattern baldness. Now, it doesn't necessarily call this the male pattern baldness, but DHT does. So creatine can increase DHT, which can then increase male pattern baldness. Now, if you're someone who's prone to DHT molecules or particles attaching to hair follicles, making them thinner, having them fall out faster, well, then creatine can lead to hair loss. So I just did a whole 6 months work, or eight months worth of regrowing all this hair. I mean, I had hair back here, but it was definitely starting to thin. And I'll do a full podcast on this, but I've done multiple shows. I'll link those up today at episode 1960 of the top causes of hair loss for men and women. I did 2 different shows. And then I did a bunch of different things, and it regrew the hair, which is really nice. So do I really want to use creatine now and then potentially lose that hair again? So the answer for me is probably not, because do I really need to put on 10 more pounds using creatine? Do I really care as much about losing my hair? It's kind of like, well, why do it? So that's kind of how I felt and how I leaned towards it. I still might do it. I'm not saying I'm not. I'm kind of the person to be like, hey, let's see what happens. Because there's also not a lot of evidence as to who it affects the most. So would it affect me? Well, if I use it, I would find out, right? But I just wanted to share that with you, because if you're thinking about using creatine and you're already suffering from hair loss or male pattern baldness, it may not be the supplement for you. I'll let you decide. All right, thank you, everyone. Appreciate you tuning in all this week. Don't forget, tomorrow starts our Cabral House Calls, where I answer our community's questions each and every weekend. Take care. Have an amazing weekend. Let me know what you thought. And of course, do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve.